Welcome to the All-Star Planning Podcast. My name is Kelsey, and this is the place where I talk all things teacher lesson plans. Today, I am talking about creating a growth mindset classroom. So if you have been listening to this podcast for any length of time, you know that I am a huge proponent of growth mindset. And in my opinion, growth mindset is a fix to what I believe to be the failed self-esteem movement of the 90s and 2000s. Okay? So the self-esteem movement basically told kids, you can be anything you want, period. Growth mindset kind of takes that and adds the important part that says you can be anything if you put in the work. Which isn't exactly what growth mindset says. Growth mindset really says you can be better at anything if you try. I could get better at basketball if I really tried, but I have no innate athletic talent and really no desire, so my basketball skills are going to primarily stay where they are. I could grow up to be president of the United States if I tried really hard. If I put my energy in the right areas, that is something that I could accomplish. Now, I don't want that job. I honestly don't understand why anybody wants that job, but that's the premise of growth mindset, is that you can be better at anything with hard work in the right places. So I 100% believe in growth mindset. I think that even if I will never be in the WNBA and be that good of a player, I know that I could go from my 0% skill in basketball to maybe like a 10% skill, which is growth, right? So they talk a lot with growth mindset about the word yet. Like, I'm not good yet. I don't get it yet. I think that's kind of silly. Sure, it works, whatever. I don't use that terminology in my classroom just because I think it's like, it sounds like a poster. It sounds like a formula or like a script or something that you're just supposed to say when a kid's like, oh, I don't understand math. I'll never be good at math. And you're like, you aren't good at math yet. It sounds scripted to me. So I don't use that. In fact, I don't talk very much about the words growth mindset in my classroom. I kind of just do these 10 things and promote a growth mindset without even using the words growth mindset. So, list of 10 things. The first 4 are ways to shift kids' thinking from grades to learning. And I make that shift by primarily focusing on content learned as opposed to the speed at which content is learned. So the very first thing that I do is I allow unlimited test retakes. I don't think normal people, like I'm crazy, I don't think most people need to allow for unlimited test retakes, but at least one test retake would be a sufficient way to implement this. So test retakes allow kids to have bad days and not great days, and to learn at a speed that kind of works for them. You kind of have this deadline of the material needs to be learned by the date of the test. Not every kid makes it for a variety of reasons. I talk about it a lot in the podcast episode that I have about test retakes. And if you're interested in test retakes, I definitely recommend that you listen to it. But I have framed my test retakes with the kids very well to a point where it's not at all ever an issue in my classroom of kids like manipulating the system in whatever way you can take that. The kids accept it as a tool, and they see it as my teacher wants me to learn. My teacher doesn't care how fast I learn. My teacher doesn't care about the grade per se that they get. The teacher cares more about the fact that I have learned. And that's the message that Test Retakes delivers to my kids, which is a growth mindset theme, is that the point of school is to learn. So that's one way that I don't communicate, but actually communicate that I am promoting a growth mindset. And the second way is that I allow for assignment redos. This is something that I am still working on. In fact, this year with like the digital learning, I am giving kids a lot of opportunities to do assignment redos, and I am loving it. It is something that I want to implement from here on out. I allow the kids to redo any assignment that they are not happy with. And right now, my rationale is that when the kids are at home, they're dealing with lots more distractions. It's not a controlled environment like our classroom is, and all of their learning is subject to internet connectivity. So I am offering them assignment redos. And there are some kids who will redo an assignment again and again and again until it hits 100, because I allow unlimited redos. You can have every assignment be submitted only one time. You can have them submit only 5 assignments a quarter, or whatever you want to do. But I think that the premise of, you got an 80 on this assignment, this is where you lost those 20 points, I want you to go back and fix it, it's far more of a learning opportunity than just getting an 80 and hoping to learn for next time, because the kids don't learn for next time. Let me just spoil that for you. Unless you have very high level kids, perhaps it's like, for me, this has only happened with like classes that offer college credit, where the kids are like, I gotta be good at this or I'm sitting here for no reason, I'm not gonna get my college credit. Those are the classes where the kids will force themselves to be better for next time. But on the whole, kids, in my experience, aren't that concerned. So just me giving them the opportunity to fix something that they've already done, they only have to do like 20 points worth of work to fix an old assignment versus 100 points of work to do a new assignment better. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just one of those things that just helps my kids to understand that I want them to learn. I don't care how they learn. I don't care the pace that they learn. All I care about is that they're learning. And that is kind of what growth mindset is, right? I can give them an assignment, they get an 80, and I say, you're not A+ at this yet. Go fix it, learn from your mistakes, and then become an A+ at this thing. So that is growth mindset, and that's one of the ways that I implement it. Another way that I implement a growth mindset in my classroom is through optional homework. And again, I have an entire podcast episode about this if you want more of the details, but for the most part, my homework is optional, meaning that kids who are striving to be and do better are going to do the homework. And this provides them an additional opportunity to learn. It's something that, like, basically I give an assignment, they'll do it at home, they come back to school, I give them the answers, and we'll go over anything that they have questions about, but I don't grade it. And that creates an environment where I am giving kids tools to say, I have learned X amount. It kind of goes hand in hand with those unlimited test retakes, is that when they are doing the optional homework, they typically are doing better on the test and don't have to do the retakes. So that all kind of goes hand in hand together. My homework assignments are also very short, to the point, and get to the bottom of the fact that homework is designed for learning and not for anything else. Number 4 is a lot of extra credit opportunities. And in doing this, I have lots of different types of extra credit, but my favorite is assignments, because a lot of kids won't do them, which means that I don't have to grade very much, but also the kids are able to accumulate a few extra points that they can drop somewhere in the grade book. For me, it's always on tests. And then they get an extra learning opportunity. So my extra credit is usually some type of assignment that is going to further their learning, which I think it should be. I will have some extra credits that's like, oh, you came to an extra help after school. Not all kids can do that or have access to that, so I don't do it very often. It'll be kids who help me with something, kids who ask or answer a really good question in class will get extra credit. But for the most part, like, the bulk of the extra credit comes from assignments. And those assignments further their learning and give them an opportunity to say, I've learned something, I've become better at this, and now I have a few extra points to sprinkle in there. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1 in terms of motivation and learning, just out there. Most of my extra credit assignments are some form of a reading comprehension where they are going to connect chemistry to real life, and I like to do that in my classroom, but we don't have as much time as I wish we did to go into the nitty-gritty details of all these things. So for instance, when I talk intermolecular forces and surface tension, I talk about like a lizard able to climb up a vertical wall or a bug able to stand on the surface of water. And I kind of just explain it real quick in like 2 minutes, where my extra credit will be an in-depth reading assignment with some questions about that topic and how it relates to real life. So that gives them a little extra something. Number 5 is that I offer a great variety of activities for my students. And this sounds like something that you're supposed to do, and that's because it is. But really what happens is that if a student likes a particular type of activity, they get a chance to do that activity, but also in the variety, they are forced to try and do other things and grow to be better at other things. And I love this. We do lots of different activities. A lot of my things revolve around games. So we do card sorts, board games, like trash get ball, where they answer questions and shoot baskets. We have a lot of fun. We do lots of different things. And some days the kids hate what we do and other days they love it, but the variety is what promotes that growth mindset. Not every day is a worksheet. Not every day is an escape room. And in doing that, I have like 10 different activities to choose from when I plan anything. And the kids are forced kind of to try new things, but also to be able to do things that they enjoy and that they're good at. Number 6 is that we do not really affirmations, but we do affirmations. I do them. I will tell my students, you're not a bad kid, you just have bad behavior. You are not a dumb kid, you just don't know this yet. And it's those types of conversations where I affirm to them that they are strong and smart and capable. That happens a lot. A lot. And part of that is me pushing them, and part of it is the fact that I actually believe it. I think that all of my students are 100% capable, and we just need to find the right pieces to turn their capability into a product. So although we don't have like the I am smart, I am strong type of affirmations, we do have those conversations about how the kids are smart and they are capable. And this will even come down to looking at a particular test question, and I can say, hey, this was on the final exam from 5 years ago, and across New York State, only 15% of kids got it right, and guess what? Every single one of you got it right. You guys are really smart. So sometimes it comes down to pulling real, actual data and proving it to them, and sometimes it's just like a, hey kid, I believe in you. You are strong and smart, and you can do anything you put your mind to. So that happens quite a bit. Number 7 is that I talk a lot about growth mindset in a way that they don't know is growth mindset. And that is that every single quarter I read them a growth mindset picture book. And this is kind of like a motivation piece. Like, okay, you just got a report card. It had some type of grade on it. That is a place we are never going back to. There's no retakes going back a quarter. There are no assignment redos going back a quarter. What is there, and we can work to make it better from here. And in doing that, I have a few books that I read at the beginning of the year. I always read Your Fantastic Elastic Brain, and there's a few more that I read. I actually have a blog post on it if you're interested more in the details of it, but it's good. I like it because the start of every quarter is like turning the page of a book. It's a new chapter and we get to learn new stuff, but it's also like a moment to like restart, and we can kind of ease into things with a nice picture book. And they are high school kids, but they enjoy a picture book. We don't talk about it for 14 years. I read it in 6 minutes, and then we talk about it for 4 minutes, and then it's done. Sometimes there's a question sheet. It kind of just depends on where it falls in my curriculum map. But usually it's like a 10-minute thing. And it's just like a little reminder that they can do hard things. They can face any challenge that comes to them. They can always grow to be and do better. And I love it. Plus, I mean, the kids will do anything for stickers. They love the picture books. If it works for a kindergartner, it'll work for any kid. I can almost guarantee that. Number 8 is specifically the language that I use. And this kind of goes back to number 6 with the affirmations. I am very careful in the way that I speak to my students. And like I had mentioned, if I have, let's say, a behavior problem and I pull a kid out of the classroom, just to have like a private conversation with them in the hallway, I will never say like, you're a bad kid, you're terrible. Like, that's obviously, you don't say things like that. But I will tell the kid, like, you are not a bad kid, you just have bad behavior right now. And I know that you're capable of good behavior. What can we do to fix this? So just being very mindful of the way that you talk to the kids can help to promote a growth mindset. I also really like to say about particular questions. Like, if you got this question right, you are really, really smart, right? I will say that for questions that every single kid got right. I don't say that for questions where like 2 kids got it right and then 98% of my class feels like they're dumb. You know what I mean? You have to be really strategic about when you say that kids are smart, because it is a compliment, but the kids who don't get that compliment will by default feel like you're calling them dumb, and you don't want that to be the case because you know that those kids aren't dumb. So it's just a matter of being mindful of your word choice. For number 9 is connecting content to real life. And I believe that the more that you connect your content to real life, even if it's something as stupid as Minecraft or a video game or a song, right? I will compare the types of chemical reactions to celebrities in their relationships. Like, so-and-so got married and that's them bonding, and then they get divorced and now they're dissolved, right? Anytime you can connect your content to real life, you are going to have kids more interested in it, and that is going to promote the thought that they can learn anything, especially when you tie it to things they already know. They feel like they're capable of difficult things. Does that make sense? If somebody were teaching you something new and said, oh, it's just like blank, something you already know, it makes it easier to understand, and it makes you more willing and able to learn it in the first place. So that is what I try to do with my students, is try to connect as much of my content to real life as possible. And then finally, number 10, which I think may be the most important out of all of these, is having the kids track their own data. I made a graph for my kids, and it's labeled like 1 through 14 on the x-axis, which is the number of unit tests we have, and then on the y-axis is their scores, and they will literally plot their test data for the whole school year. So 1, it gets that graphing standard out of the way, and number 2, they can literally see their progress and what they need to go back and retake, what they need to review really hardcore for a midterm or final, what they're already good at and just need to like perfect. I love this. I think it's absolutely stellar, fantastic, amazing. I really love it because it makes the kids more accountable, specifically with those test retakes and optional homework assignments. When my kids are doing it well, they will track not only the first test that they take, but the second and the third and however many retakes they take. And those are put on different graphs, and then towards the end of the school year, when we get ready for final exam review, we will draw a horizontal line at 65, which in New York is passing, and then at 85, which is mastery. So they'll kind of see what units they did not great at, which ones they did okay at, and which ones they did really good at. And we will, I actually give them a ranking sheet. So they will say, I was really good at units X, Y, and Z, And then I will collect all of that data and decide kind of sort of as a class what we need to hardcore review for our final, what we need to kind of sort of review, and the things that we can just brush over real quick. So that is 10 ways that I promote growth mindset in my classroom without actually saying the words growth mindset. I'm interested if there's anything that you would add to this list. So definitely let me know. If you're watching on YouTube, you can leave a comment. If you are listening to the audio, then find me on Instagram. My name is Kelsey Reeve. Pretty easy to find. And then that's it. That is all. If you're interested in learning more about my All-Star Planning Method, you can sign up for the masterclass, plan.kelseyreeve.com. That is where I show you how the 5 pieces of the All-Star Planning curriculum come together to help you write a very solid curriculum so that you can come up with 1,000,001 different activities for your students to do, because that's what I do with all my free time, aside from doing a podcast. And subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any more of my tips. Last week we talked about changing your strategies mid-year, which for some of you, I know it's not your semester mark yet, so maybe listen to that episode if you haven't already. Come up with some things that you can research in the next 2 weeks, and then switch up strategies at the start of the next semester. So that's it. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.